Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the semifinals of the July Arcane Games and Events Open Series. We've got one heck of a match up for you where these four competitors are competing for a medal, some cash, and of course, that cold foil full art Arcane Lantern, which signifies only one thing. What is that, Michael?
That you won.
That's darn right and darn tootin'. The next match is two familiar faces from the Arcane Games and Events Open Circuit.
Yeah.
One, Eugene Galipcak on
Kano. We're having a Kano game, baby.
and of course, resident illusionist player Zachary Wallach from the AGE Pro Team on Enigma.
Yeah.
Michael, you've said that this matchup is actually fascinating. Tell
I'm
me
so
about
excited for this matchup. So Kano doesn't get to play a lot of traditional games of Flesh and Blood. It's a lot of like killing you in one turn.
Mhm.
But Enigma has the ward to prevent that, while Kano is highly incentivized to cast spells to prevent the damage that Enigma's trying to do. So what we get is one of the rare games of Flesh and Blood that Kano can play in a true back and forth tempo-based fashion. And I love this matchup. I've played it on the side of Kano, and it's really, really fun to be able to play things in a reactive way and, you know, be stuffing the attacks of the Enigma while also trying to maintain enough tempo to be chipping damage in. And while on the other side, the Enigma has a ton of ward to prevent these massive wildfire turns on top of having a ton of blues to support arcane barrier. So what we end up with is a really even tempo-based match. So not something we're really used to seeing Kanos get to participate in. So I'm very excited to see how this one plays out.
Well, you've absolutely sold me. Let's take a look at the player profiles of the two gentlemen that'll be facing off in front of us today. First up, we have Eugene Galipcak. Eugene is no stranger to the top eights of the Arcane Games and Events Open Series, usually sporting Kano, so it's nothing unusual.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen him on anything else. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, seems like he's a
I don't think
Kano
so either,
only
yeah.
kind of player. I wonder how excited he is about Rosetta. Maybe it'll be the first time we see him on a new wizard, or maybe he says, I'm a Kano main.
Yeah, maybe.
And I'll use the new tools to keep winning with Kano.
That seems to be like it might be an effective strategy, honestly. Eugene also, unfortunately, was the gentleman that knocked your brother out of contention.
Yep. He got that lucky top deck, which for a moment I was sad, but seeing Kano in the top 8 brings me so much joy. I love this
That's what it's
wizard
really all about, huh?
sneaking in these Aether wildfires, pulling out top decks, winning games off of dice rolls and
Yeah.
hidden information.
Eugene, also a member of Humongous Games down in San Diego, the crew that we see to be we are expecting to see highly represented at the battle-hardened San Diego, as well as the following day Arcane Games and Events Open Series.
Yeah.
I
I heard
really
you
excited
should
to
get
see
your
how they do it
tickets soon.
Yeah, I heard that too. Justin has said that we are close to selling out. Let's take a look at Mr. Zachary Wallach on the other side of the table. Zachary Wallach has been playing Illusionist since I can remember. He's been in the game longer than me, but he refuses to play any other class, even in limited formats.
Yeah.
He has been a resident Enigma Forcer, famously in our last Open.
And did quite well. The
Yeah,
man
honestly.
knows how to play Illusionist. It's in his blood. It's in his soul.
And stubbornly went Enigma despite the fact that he was between two of them during that top 8 draft pod.
Absolutely.
Seems like he eats his ramen with chopsticks when he's at a restaurant, but fork at home since he can't be shamed there. This man is ashamed of the cutlery he uses.
Yeah, you got to be careful in a Japanese restaurant. Shame is deep in that culture.
Understandably so. I would absolutely shame him if I saw him eating it with a
I would
fork.
too.
Especially because how do you handle broth with a fork?
You don't.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
that's
why
the whole
you use
point, isn't it?
That's okay, Zachary.
You deserve to be shamed, Zach. Let's talk about this match. Players are preparing. Cuts are happening. We've got the beautiful blue versus red.
Yeah, this
on
is a
screen.
cool little screen we got here.
I'm all right with this.
Flames versus water
Yeah.
or moonlight.
Moon? Yeah, probably moonlight.
Moonlight versus sun flame.
Moonlight versus sunlight. Which can
Wildfire.
burn you better?
Yeah.
Which type of radiation would you like to deal with?
And we just finished watching Eugene go through one heck of a matchup, racking his brain in a pitch stack battle and got there just barely.
Yeah,
At the skin of his teeth.
Eugene is definitely not one of those KO players that lives and dies by RNG.
Mhm.
He knows every single game plan that this deck can approach a game of Flesh and Blood through,
Yeah.
and he knows how to do it really well.
Yep. And I do also love his 1 graded Kano. I think he said he rubbed it on the pavement before he sent it in.
I'm just
Get
realizing
graded.
that that's a 1 grade.
Yeah. Very rare, actually,
that,
on the
that-
bottom end of the scale.
I feel like that's very much like an Alan Chavarin kind of move with his Levia cards. I love this. Eugene has so much character, and he's such a sweet guy. He's so much fun to play with. Like, he hits you for 40, and you thank him. He's that kind of guy.
Yep, and it looks like Eugene started the game off, Zachary choosing second as the higher seed in this matchup.
Do you think that's correct?
I don't know. I think it's very unimportant. I think this game will go the distance, and it doesn't make a whole lot of difference who goes first or second.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm noticing an interesting staff choice on the Kano side of things. What do you think of that
Absolutely.
Waning Moon?
Waning Moon is critical.
Mhm.
So this is the weapon that's going to allow him to pop the auras as they're attacking him, which means that Zachary Wallach will hopefully be leaning towards attack actions, which Eugene will not be able to pop. And that will be his primary source of damage in this game, assuming he can't block out the arcane barrier while swinging at the same time.
Well, look like Zach says nuts to those attack actions. First and foremost, here comes a Waxing Spectre,
Yep.
which is going to get the +1 because he's pitched a blue. Let's see if he decides to swing it, though. Oh, this is all still happening.
Oh, yes, this is still Eugene's turn.
Eugene's
Oh,
turn.
we're going to have one of those games.
Mhm.
A lot of instance on both sides. Going to be important to keep track of which player's turn it is as Eugene plays the Waning Moon off of the back of that potion of Deja Vu, which allows him to activate it.
So Eugene says, yeah, sure, you can do stuff on my turn, but I'm going to try to snipe that stuff that you're doing on my turn. Zach, however, is presenting Arcane Barrier 3, so ostensibly he'll be able to protect this Waxing Spectre.
Yep.
At least for now.
Pitches a blue and covers that up well.
And Eugene no longer has any action points, so he is forced to just Arsenal and pass.
Mhm.
The rest of that pitch going to Charity. And Zach is drawn up. That is a fully Enigma'd board if I have ever seen one. We got a cold foil Cosmo, we've got the full art Enigma, and the Enigma sleeves to boot.
Yeah.
What do you think the odds are that he has an Enigma playmat?
I bet he does.
Looking at the hand of Zachary Wallach, I feel like I see 2 Transcend cards,
Yep.
Rising Sun, Setting Moon, Homage to Ancestors. So we could get some chi generated really early.
Yeah, the more ward he can put on the board, the more he can protect his larger auras. If Eugene is able to put something out that does more than 3 arcane damage, Zachary does not have a hope of preventing the damage without some help from those spectral shields.
And they'll cover up those breakpoints incredibly nicely
Yep.
if Eugene can generate them.
And that is exactly what they're there for. So this is a fantastic start for Zachary. Just double transcend into what looks like either a reading of the Enigma hero power or a use of it. I haven't seen yet.
I believe it was a reading
Okay.
because, yeah, Zach was only flipping it so that Eugene
Mhm.
could see it.
Yep.
And now we are looking to bottom one of these cards off of Rising Sun, Setting Moon, which will generate another chi. And if Zach is finding this chi to be redundant, why not send that to the bottom?
Yeah.
Transcending once again, like you mentioned, that beautiful flavor, ascending the card out of the sleeve,
Yeah.
turning it to the other side and putting it back in.
As the moon rises, as the moon sets.
It's all beautiful, as all things should be. Eugene giving a frowny face to the cards in his hand. Ostensibly not because he doesn't like them, but probably because he ate something weird for lunch. Surely not. Eugene strikes me as a very healthy, lean kind of guy.
Mhm.
You need that to fuel the Kano fires, if you know what I mean.
Allows Zach to play on, and wow, early Miragai.
How does this impact this match, do you think?
Well, Eugene has a lot to get through,
Mhm.
obviously. One of the tough things about having 2 ward on the table is you get to choose which one gets blown up. And swinging in for 8 here means Eugene has to either block or do a lot of damage to get through both of those wards. Knowing that Zach only has 1 card in hand and 2 float gives Eugene some information of a maximum of 5 arcane barrier, but that's still a huge ask. He needs to hit a good top deck here if he decides to go the route of Kano blind into shooting arcane damage, and that's exactly what he does.
Zach is a little bit shields down just because he doesn't have any of those really critical spectral shields to block out like the tiny zaps or the breakpoints that we were mentioning earlier. So, depending on the last card in his hand, and we know it's not a chi to pitch to create a spectral shield, Eugene might be able to just send 2 spells here to get himself through both the Waxing Spectre and that Manifestations of Miragai.
Yeah.
Gaze the Ages is not a bad find.
It makes him overcommit here. I think
Mm.
he gave a little bit of a frown, and I think he's kind of thinking to himself, I really would have preferred a spell that does damage because I just kind of want a Waning Moon. And it looks like he does just cast the Gaze the Ages without doing another Kano. It could be that he has too many reds in hand, or it could be that he's made the decision that he can't afford to pitch 2 blues on the off chance that he hits another brick.
Critically, because Gaze the Ages won't go back to hand and be another resource card
Right.
unless he's played another non-attack.
So Eugene just going for the opt here. And firing the Waning Moon. Yeah, and see, it's an all red hand, so
Red flooded
really
as
not
you
what he wanted
foretold.
to see.
So Zach very easily covers that up with another blue pitch, which means that Eugene is facing down 8 from the Spectral Dragon. Herself. I don't know. Do you think it's a boy dragon, girl dragon?
I think that this dragon is probably transcended gender.
I think you're probably right. And so 8 it shall be.
Yeah, that's a rough start for Eugene. He's going to have his work cut out for him in order to get back into this game.
And furthermore, Zach now knows that shields are basically down on Eugene's side of the table. So here comes another 4. And Eugene already almost at half his starting life total.
Half his starting life total without cards in hand to threaten any more damage.
Zach giving his trademark evil cackle as Eugene contemplates the dilemma set before him. Tome of Aether Wind might be a get out of jail free card here.
Well, he really needs at least a blue to pitch into the Waning Moon.
Modes chosen are draw a card, draw a card. Let's see if Eugene will show us what he's got.
So he does have a blue and a potion, but goes for the Kano first, which is
a snapback. That's not bad.
Yeah. He's got 5 damage showing here now.
This is the semifinals of the July AGE Open Series. These players have been duking it out all day, trying to fight their way to the top of this leaderboard. Both of these players, it's important to mention, are very comfortably sitting in the top 16 bracket and are currently contending for the Players' Championship. Eugene, I believe, is seated a little bit higher than Zach. So the points are less important in this match to both of these players, but we've got other prizes on the table.
That's right. That Cold Foil Arcane Lantern and the coveted July AGE Champion medal.
And don't you forget about 400 smackers.
Yep.
Snapback comes in. Zachary blocks it cleanly with a Transcend card, followed up by a Waning Moon for 2.
And one important thing to note here is that as Eugene sends these spells in, it's stripping blues from Zach's hand, which is exactly the card that he needs to fuel his offense, which is where this can end up in a really tricky spot. And look at that, 2 reds. So protecting his auras, but with only 1 card in hand, could be a blue, which would allow him to swing with both, or it could be another red, which would stuff a little bit of that damage. And it is a blue, which is good for him. He has a little bit floating for Arcane Barrier, but this is the moment for Eugene to top deck something meaningful this time and deal enough arcane damage to just blow both of those auras up before they can hit him.
8 damage coming in from the Manifestations of Miragai, which has 4 counters due to
Cindering Foresight is huge here.
So I'll opt 3.
Yep.
Eugene opting off the top of the deck. His next source of arcane damage is going to be pumped by an additional 1. Surely he finds something he can use here, right, Michael? All 3 on top. Found everything he likes.
That's a great start. Yep.
Here comes the Kano one that could, starting off with the Tome of Fiendal.
Okay. So likely we found 2 blues and a red.
And so Eugene is going to draw the 2 blues that he saw off the Cindering Foresight, fuel some additional damage here. Going very resource positive with his pitch so far. And the third Tome of Fiendal is in the hand.
Yeah, he may want to stick that in Arsenal just to kind of claw a little bit of that life back.
He is really clumped. The two Reds he pitched earlier were Blazing Aethers as well.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So now this is blind. None of this has been seen by Eugene before. These are blind Kanos.
Yeah.
Looks like a sap to me in the blue.
Hmm.
Sounds like Eugene said, crud.
Yeah, he would have really liked to see a red spell in this spot. He needs to be able to push enough damage to blow up both of these wards if he wants to stop this 8 damage coming in at him.
Come on, just like the old times.
I know, right?
These players are having a lot of fun. They go way back.
And here,
Both
that.
mainstays of the game since
Mhm.
its early days.
I'm gonna-
Eugene representing the grade 1 Kano that could.
Oh, no, I have to. Yeah, okay.
Eugene having a war of words with his own mind.
Yeah, you almost tricked me
Just
there.
wizard things.
Okay. 2 coming here.
Here comes Sap for 2, critically pumped up by the Cindering Foresight that was played earlier.
And come in 4.
Zach, of course, cleanly covers that up with the additional 2 that were floating.
Or
Now we've hit the Waxing Spectre. Can Eugene find one more source of arcane damage?
Yeah.
All he needs is one.
You do it. Would you like to block smile? I don't want to use the Deja Vu potion on this.
Eugene remaining obstinate, not wanting to drink that potion in front of him.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the card in his hand was red or blue.
I think
But this
if he's considering drinking the potion, then it must be blue, right? Because then he would ostensibly put the Tome of Fiendals on
Right,
top,
of course.
banish to Kano, and then draw
But
more.
the other option is just a blind Kano. Any spell at all will
I don't know.
kill this Maragai.
And he has seen a lot of non-spells.
Yep. I mean, man, if it hit a Kindle or something,
Yeah.
that could just.
Which at that point, I mean, at least he would be able to draw a card off the Kindle.
Well, he can't use the Kindle. It's an instant.
Okay.
Oh, that's a
Oh
brick.
my goodness, I keep forgetting that.
So
That
he
is a
does
brick.
use the potion, not deciding to risk it, rather gaining some more resources to cleanly be sure that he can get what he needs off the top here.
I think this makes a lot of sense because Zach wants to sport Arcane Barrier 3 into
Mhm.
Eugene, he can't run that powerful piece of equipment, Traverse the Universe, which
Yeah.
means the fact that he got this Manifestations of Mirror guy out with 4 counters on it was kind of a fluke.
Yeah.
And due to the fact that there was not a lot of pressure on him early in the game. Later on, that might not be the case.
Yeah.
So hopefully, once he deals with this Manifestations of Mirror guy, he's going to have a much easier time executing the game plan that you described earlier.
There's the second tome. And a lot of laughter.
These guys are having a blast. Despite the fact that it's been a super long day, they're 2 players that respect each other's skill and love the game so
Mhm.
much. Let's take a look at the hand of Eugene. We found a
Red
Tome of
tome. Is that a
Firebrand.
blue prognosticate?
Sorry, Tome of Aetherwind. That
Wow.
would be a blue prognosticate.
How did I do that? Pitches the tome and sees an Aether Wildfire, shaking his head a little bit just because it's kind of a waste.
It's a little
here,
too
but
much
you
too
know what?
early.
In this case, it's a block 8. And
Exactly.
I think he's happy to do that at the very least. Clearing up Zach's board, which was quite big.
It was significant, that's for sure. I think Eugene is doing the very safe and smart thing in clearing that board, even though it felt like it utilized a lot of resources. I mean, he had like 6 cards in his pitch zone and
Mhm.
did 0 damage.
But Eugene has now stabilized a little bit. Still on the back foot in terms of tempo, but Zachary is going to have to rebuild the board in order to push any more damage.
Seeing a Shimmers of Silver in Zach's hand, probably not the card that you want to see at the moment. Levels of Enlightenment, however, that's a little more enticing.
Yeah, these attack actions are kind of where Zach gets to gain some actual damage that force cards from Eugene. So those are very, very important in this matchup as we see him playing it for just a single mode activated.
That mode will be ostensibly Go Again, I'd
Yeah.
have to imagine.
It's got to be go again. And Eugene just says, take it. I'll go to half.
This is probably the least threatening levels of Enlightenment that Eugene has seen all day.
And-
However, this Enigma Chimera for
Yeah.
8,
Yeah.
is a little more threatening.
Yeah, the attacks are where Eugene is going to have to make some tough choices.
I don't remember the last time I saw an Enigma Chimera in the red played against me. I feel like it's typically a very easy blue include for a lot of these illusionist players. Zach adding it in for an immense amount of pressure against this Kano player, who is
Yeah.
deficient on life already.
Eugene in the tank would have really liked to keep his cards or at least send them on offense.
Adrian Garcia in the chat says, let me know if there are any other updates on the other matches. Currently, we've got our other semifinal going with Andrew Rudin on New and Colin Erickson on Kasai. That means we've had a KO player knocked out. We've had another new player knocked out by Eugene. And, of course, the match you casted previously.
Yeah.
Our token Zen player is also out of the mix. So that's where we're at right now, Adrian. More updates as they come.
I got deep. We're like on flesh and blood. And
You want to talk about it for a second?
yeah.
What
It's
being like
unlimited.
4 turns into a Kano game does to a motherfucker.
Zach dropping some profanity, but he's a wholesome guy, I promise. Eugene coming in with an Aether Spindle for 4.
It's a very good 2-card hand for Kano. Opting very, very powerful in this deck.
Sam O'Byrne, friend of the show, is in the chat. Zach's laugh is sending me lol. He's sending us as well.
Wow.
Sam. It's
Zach just
nonstop. We've been
takes
hearing it all day.
Says, I don't care about your opt. And Eugene certainly does. I see a wildfire. I see a Kindle.
You see, this is why I don't do it. Oh, God. He's going to be like 4 straight to the bottom.
Yep.
And I see some glare.
I have seen this situation myself. There's often a situation where the Kano presents the Aether Spindle, and it's impossible to quantify whether or not it's good to block it or not because you don't know what's on top. They don't either. Chances are they could send a lot to the bottom.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to want to hamper your own turn, especially when your whole game plan is pressure the Kano down.
Yep.
When all they're doing is getting information.
Yeah.
This early in the game.
Exactly. If you are giving up your cards on defense into Kano, you're playing exactly into his game plan. You must be on the offensive as the Enigma player. And sending those huge illusionist attacks with Phantasm is a fantastic way to do it, since Kano doesn't run any attacks to pop them.
Indeed so. What he does run, however, is a staff that sends arcane damage. And here it comes to Zach. He says, take it on the chin. Not with the card, of course. Just
Eugene
the euphemism.
Taking his first blood of the match, as we see Rage Spectre coming out. Powerful card, Ward 1, so it's not stopping a lot, but it comes in for a lot of damage if there is a blue pitch.
And boy, what a blue pitch this is. Zach is going to transcend off of this card, ostensibly to create another Spectral Shield or fuel the remainder of this turn. I know he wants to be swinging 6 with that Rage Spectre. He's going to have a tough time giving it go again because that arm slot has been taken up by another piece of AB equipment, which is usually held by Uphold Tradition.
Well, currently he has an additional action point at least to swing with it, which is nice because it was the only aura in the field when it entered. But you're right that this may be the only swing that he does this turn if he can't give it a counter.
And because Zach has what is about to be 3 cards in hand, I would have to imagine he has something up his sleeve.
Yeah.
A Spectral Shield with a +1 counter, perhaps? Oh my goodness, is that another Manifestation Samira guy?
It is.
No, it's not. Zach, ugh.
And he's got the chi to play it.
This is what happens to me every time I play Zach. He's got the absolute most ridiculous hands every single time. Sorry, Eugene.
Yeah, Eugene absolutely has an uphill climb, facing down quite the string of good draws in a row from Zach.
Interestingly enough, Zach does go ahead and swing the Rage Spectre for 6, which doesn't have go again. I wonder when he is going to choose to deploy this Mira guy, because he wouldn't be able to swing with it this turn.
Yeah, you know, I think what he's saying is I want to build a board up, and some of these cards need to stay in my hand to protect the aura as it swings in for 6, because Eugene is thinking about how he can push some damage here to prevent that.
Absolutely. And he doesn't need much. Only got Ward 1 over here, and there's nothing else to protect it. However, Zach could be holding back that chi in hopes of sniping like a blue sap or something that comes his way and protecting the Rage Spectre. I don't know. I'm really curious to see how Zach plays the rest of this out.
Yeah, I think that this measured play was very smart and level-headed on his end. You never want to see them swinging with 3 cards still in hand because it feels almost impossible to pop it with that much defense being threatened. So instead, he decides to block and take 3 damage. And Zach
up in the Mistville gully
Yep.
without an action point.
There's the Maragai.
Okay, here's the Maragai.
Pass Prio. Pass.
He passes Prio. Zachary Wallach is down with the Abreeves.
Mm-hmm. See, now he has a Tunic counter to swing the Maragai next turn. Of course, if he doesn't have cards in hand to defend it, it won't matter all that much. So he needs to be thinking about both offense and defense and being very conservative with the cards that he does decide to spend.
Eugene slamming down an energy potion to be drunk later. And that turns on his waning moon, pressuring the board of Zachary Wallach. Let's see how Zach decides to respond in this semifinal match, the July AGE Open Series.
Okay, yeah.
Arcane Barrier 1
82.
and a red.
Ooh. Could Zach be baiting Eugene in with the rest of what is in his hand? I would have to imagine he's otherwise fairly blue-flooded.
Yeah. These Enigmas rarely hit the all-red hand. We did see one somewhat earlier, but these look like blues to me.
Right you are, Michael. That's definitely another Shimmers of Silver,
Yeah.
pitching a Rage Spectre. And here comes Miragai.
Yeah, so
For
he
8.
has 8 potential resources to guard these wards as they're coming in.
Let's see if Eugene has what it takes to take out this Spectral Dragon. I am seeing a lot of reds in this hand, one of them being the namesake card of Kano, Aether Wildfire. I think that's
Yeah.
2 reds, 2 blues, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Eugene would love to see an all-blue hand and then
course.
just top deck the reds. One of them is
Oh,
a
and it's
Kindle,
Kindle.
though, so that's a useful card. I'll say that much.
Is it useful in this situation, though?
It could be. It really depends on if he decides to dump his entire hand to try to pop this, or if he plays a little bit more measured. It's certainly not useful if he goes for blocking.
I'm sure it must feel terrible for Eugene facing this situation again where he maybe feels like he has to dump his entire hand, a ton of resources, some of these critical potions that are probably going to be his end game just to clear
Yeah.
this massive ward dragon.
He's really sort of at the mercy of the top of his deck at the moment.
Makes you feel like you're just spinning your wheels, and especially at the cusp of under double digits on the life total side of things, he's got to make something happen.
Yeah, he doesn't have as much life to work with as he would like in this position.
Now, when you were playing this matchup on the Kano side, did you have to deal with early Miragas like Eugene is?
No, Zach is getting exactly what he needs, exactly when he needs it. I mean, I guess on the positive side, if we're looking for the silver lining, they won't come up later. So getting them out of the way is one of the things that Eugene has to do one way or another at some point in this game. I guess you might as well do it early.
And let's see if you can do it here. We're deploying the Kindle,
Yep,
probably holding priority until we can clear the entirety of the hand.
Mhm.
We know he's got one more red in the hand in the form
that's
of the Aether Wildfire, and then a blue. So he would have to overpitch in order to get that card draw off of the Kindle.
Right.
Okay, cool.
I wonder if he's thinking about doing a
Second.
sequence with the Ragamuffin's hat here.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, and there it is. So deciding to use the Ragamuffins to make sure that that Wildfire gets to the top of the deck where he needs it for the Kano resolution, and hoping.
He doesn't even take a look first? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Eugene, you're making my
He's
heart
like,
stop.
look, man, it doesn't matter. And he gets the blue, which was really, really important for him in this spot.
I know what this is, so I'm gonna put it there anyways.
And Eugene being forced to use a very critical piece of equipment
Yeah.
in the form of the Ragamuffin's hat.
So the Kano resolves here, before the Kindle, which is very important because now Eugene can respond by playing the Wildfire. It won't be buffed by the Kindle, but I think he's okay with that in order to draw the extra card.
Zach's laugh transcends time and space. Transports us into a time maybe in our past where we felt a little bit better about life and didn't have as many stressors.
Why did I do that?
Thank you, Zach, for that.
Flesh and Blood really is our happy place, isn't it?
It's definitely Zach's.
But I can't let it resolve, but I want it to resolve.
Yep.
Oh, the waning moon.
Oh no, the waning moon. What's he thinking? He just doesn't have enough resources?
Right. He can't.
Right
Yeah.
now.
Jesus Christ.
Well, he can actually play the Waning Moon in order to get that card out of his hand, and then draw the card from Kindle and then play the Wildfire. I think he's just thinking, I'd love to buff this Wildfire. I don't want this Kindle buff to go to waste. So he just kind of remembered for a moment that he does have a way to sequence it that allows him to get the buff onto the Wildfire.
Which is interesting because how much does he actually want to buff the Aether Wildfire here? Because best case scenario, it's being eaten up by the Mirror guy.
Right.
Like I know we want to make use of our Kindle, obviously, and we want to get the card draw there. That seems to be the value prop here. But I don't think there's a huge difference between Aether Wildfire for 4 and 5, is there?
I mean, probably not if he covers it up all the way. So goes for the Kindle draw as that resolves. And Lessons and Aether Wildfire sitting there in the Banished Zone ready to be played if Eugene gets the resources he needs from that draw. Didn't see the card. Let's see if we can catch it as he flips it. Looks like...
Oh, he's teasing us.
Taunting. I think that might be a Tome.
Tome of what?
The red one.
Aether Flare?
And he's
or
got
Aether...
Tome of
Aether Flare, Aether Fire,
Everything is an Aether Flare.
Wildfire. Oh my goodness. Everything's fiery. Eugene in the Kano tank.
Yeah, and he had another Kindle in his arsenal, so maybe thinking about a way to play that out as well. It's kind of tough to, I mean, those are one of the best cards in Eugene's deck, and I know that he would love to use them for some damage rather than just playing them to not take damage. But he is in this right now because the second Mirror Guy was played with a Chi, and that is one of the most oppressive cards that Enigma has in her arsenal.
Indeed
Huge
so.
damage and defense all in one.
Indeed so. Eugene really in the tank here at the semifinals, the July AGE Open Series. Making sure he's dotted all of his I's, crossed all of his T's.
I'm going to play Cindering Foresight.
Ooh, Cindering Foresight is
Okay.
not a bad pickup here.
Yeah, I think he kind of wishes it was a blue, but because he has the Kindle in Arsenal, he can put a blue at the top and get kind of what he needs off the top.
Which will fuel both the Lessons in Lava and the Aether Wildfire.
Yeah.
And potentially give him yet another card draw off of that Kindle in Arsenal.
Yeah, I think Eugene is sort of... It's bittersweet because while he can defend here, this is a lot of his offensive potential being used in a way that isn't really going to do a lot of damage to Zach.
I would have to imagine that he's feeling like he's kind of just spinning his wheels, just trying to stop Zach's game plan rather than advancing his own.
Oh, hold on.
That is a very astute observation, Bryce.
Okay, so the next one would be coming. I'm going to break Energy Potion. 2 resources. So this one would be coming in.
You can do it, Eugene. I know you can.
This is just to break the wards. This is so bad.
Yep.
Eugene expressing what we figured he might be feeling at this moment.
Yeah, this is how a Kano feels when his Aether Wildfire is used as a popper.
A non-6 popper, though, and there is some value in that.
It's like blocking with bonds and
Yeah.
and-
Pretty much. Doesn't feel great, but sometimes you got to do it.
Yeah.
To make it to the next turn cycle.
Ward 6. Right.
Oh, because it's not his turn. That Rage Spectre had Ward 6. I completely forgot that that was one of the lines of text on that card. That is brutal.
Mm-hmm. So Eugene, no matter what, he was going to have to deploy 2 forms of 2 spells here
Yeah.
in order to actually clear the Mirror Guy.
Can he hit another 4 breakpoint? Is that Kindle affecting the
In
lessons?
response to the lesson, attempt to play Restless.
Doesn't matter anymore.
That's a good pickup.
Yep.
That's
So
a really good
when
pickup.
It resolves.
Yeah.
I can move a counter onto it,
Mhm.
and I, as an insect, can remove a counter to make a spectral shield.
Okay.
And it innately has ward.
Before that resolves.
I love that response from Eugene.
Yeah.
Zach has just been sitting here letting Eugene stew in the tank for like 7 minutes, knowing that he has like one of the best answers he could possibly have.
Mhm.
Onto this, and then
And we see enough to cover it up without the Miragai dying here.
Hmm.
and I will.
Well, we've got oh, and then he's got enough left over in pitch, righto.
Yeah.
Eugene is not feeling good about the way that this all went. You'd think with 2 Kindles, a Wildfire, and a Lesson that he would be
We found an
over
Aether
the
arc.
moon.
Yeah, baby, we fucking love Blue Zach.
Yeah,
Ward.
and that shield is enough to cover it.
We're gonna have to give Zach some language coaching, but you can see his excitement boiling over
Yeah.
in the semifinal.
Eugene going down to 4 with no cards in hand.
And
a Miragai.
understandably so, because Zach basically has just secured his place as the king of the hill in this game.
Yeah.
Pass.
We're good. Cool. To my turn. Tuka-pink.
Zach just such a good narrator, such a clean player, because he's played so much illusionist over the years. Watching him play, he makes it very easy to follow on the other side of the table, and also for us here in the booth.
We're going to activate.
You know, he knows what he's doing.
Cool. That works. That's things that we like. I'm going to activate. Dude, your AB3 is so good right now.
Zach showcasing why this Silent Stilettos
Nothing but blue.
sideboard choice is so important. That extra AB being
Yeah.
absolutely critical in the game.
Yeah, the Arcane Barrier protecting all of these wards.
Unlucky.
It's not enough to just send 1 damage. You have to be hitting breakpoints, which is tough for Kano. There's not a lot of spells that come in for 4 damage without pumping them with the Crucible, which
Yeah.
Eugene critically does not have in this matchup.
All right, we're drawing cards. Draw a card is the chosen modes for Tome of Aetherwind.
Kano. For fuck's sake, dude.
Eugene loving the card on the top of his deck. Unapologetically. I would like to point out that Eugene's hat says in response, just so you know where he stands.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what is on the top of his deck here that he's so frustrated about.
I like this game.
It's got to be a blue, right? Or perhaps his Eye of Ophidia,
Hate this. This is
which
so
I believe he's running. Should we double check that real quick?
to banish it. God damn it.
I do see an Eye of Ophidia.
Could be that. Could be Kindle. One of the cons of running Kindle and I, despite how powerful those cards can be, is they
I guess I've had a good
do
run.
not allow you to pull them off the top of a Kano activation. So must
That would be very frustrating on Eugene's side of the table, especially considering he's already seen 2 out of 3
yeah.
this game.
Oh, it's a Wildfire. So he's frustrated because he's like out of those now, and that's his win condition. And with Zach having 3 cards in hand and 3 ward on table, Eugene knows that this isn't going to do any damage.
Get there, Eugene. Don't you give up on us. It's important to iterate once again how talented of a Kano player that Eugene is. This is his ride or die.
Yeah.
At one point, I believe during the Lexi meta, he felt like Kano wasn't strong enough. He opted to continue playing the game in when the top tier deck was a matchup he hated.
Mm-hmm.
He just stuck it out, man.
Yeah. It's dedication.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many decks in this format that allow you to play the game the way Kano does. And the people who love him just absolutely love him.
Surely more options to come in the new set Rosetta with 2 additional wizards.
Looking
I know that's going to
very
pull me
forward.
into wizard.
Yeah. You going to try Kano?
Maybe. Maybe I'll go that deep. We'll see.
In response.
4 damage coming through and another instant ward.
Restless Coalescence. Let's see if Zach chooses to take a +1 counter and generate another Spectral Shield. I'd have to imagine so. Also 2 floating and pitch at the ready to help cover up whatever ward can't handle. This is kind of, honestly, before you told me that this matchup can be pretty grindy, this is pretty much how I expected.
Right,
would
this
go.
is, you know, people kind of assumed going in that Enigma would absolutely destroy Kano, but believe it or not, it's the consensus from the best Kano players is actually that it's Kano favored. So seeing Zach make it look this easy to shut the Kano down speaks volumes to both the way that Zach drew, the way that Eugene drew, and just the way that Zach probably knows.
In response.
Mm-hmm. Look at the hat, Zach.
There's our eye. Luckily, it's not found on a Kano activation.
And another frown from Eugene. I mean, it's hard not to be, you know, like, yeah, there's very, very little that Eugene can get at this moment that's going to bail him out of this hole that he's in.
So it looks like Eugene went ahead and activated the Waning Mood, the Kindle, and now the Snapback in response to this Restless Coalescence, forcing Zach to try to find a way to block out all of this arcane damage before the Restless even resolves. And goodbye, Miragai, it will be.
Well,
could this be a turning point for our hero, Eugene Galipcak?
2 down, 1 to go. If Eugene's lucky, it won't come with another chi.
Yeah, and if I know anything about Zachary Wallach, it surely will, and it'll be
Probably,
next turn.
yeah, next turn. God.
AB2, Ward 2.
And so he clears the board. No cards in hand.
So Eugene will be forced to simply pass priority, draw up,
Yep.
and give it on back to Zach.
Man, I would love nothing more than to see the heroic comeback of the century on Eugene's side. But it is looking like one heck of a hill to climb.
It's looking like a dark day for Mr. Eugene for our 1-grade Kano over there.
5-card hand on the side of Zach.
Gosh, I want to be in the room when that Kano card came in to be graded.
Yeah.
At that point, they're like, I know what this guy wants.
Yeah. And here's an attack. Which, ironically, it was so frustrating to have all that ward on the table, but these attacks are actually even worse. They demand cards from Eugene, and, you know, he can't shut anything down and gain value that way.
I mean,
it's just an even trade.
That Manifestations of Miragai essentially demanded like 10 cards. The ones he drew, the ones he pitched.
Here we have a Phantasmaclasm. So
That's
this is
rough.
actually
Response.
going to take a card out of Eugene's hand.
Cute thing.
Zach is feeling good at the moment.
What cute thing is left?
It lets me draw if I Kano out.
Oh, yeah, that
Yeah,
cute
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah, spit your whole hand. Problems here.
Zach says, pitch your whole hand to get that cheeky draw off of the Phantasmaclasm. I dare you.
It's a bold bait. Let's see if it pays off.
Yeah, with 1 card in hand, a Tunic resource, and 2 floating, I don't know if I'd take that bait on Eugene's side of the table.
Yeah, probably a losing bet.
And no Ragamuffins hat to speak of.
I'll go ahead and Kano.
Wow.
Can I even do anything with it?
What is he hoping to find here?
I guess the last Aether Wildfire. The thing that Eugene has going for him is the fact that Zach doesn't have any ward on board.
Right, but he
Which
does have a
means-
card in hand.
Yeah, there's maybe a world where Eugene pushes through enough damage, but
He's already blocked with a card. I don't see it.
we've seen 2 Blazing Aethers already go to the bottom.
Well,
We've
first-
seen 2 Aether Wildfires played.
Yeah. That's where.
Yeah, act surprised.
Yes. It's so bad.
2 dragons down, 1 to go, baby.
Civil War reenactment.
We basically are.
Are we back?
Ladies
Okay.
and gentlemen, we're back. Thank you so much for being patient with us and our technical difficulties. Can we let the players know that we are back live? The players have graciously held themselves at a block step for us. As a reminder, Zach has got Eugene back up against a wall. The latest thing that has happened is turn was passed back to Zach. Zach went ahead and sent a weakest link Eugene's way. The point we're at now is a declaration of blocks.
Yeah, and that's actually exactly how Eugene reacted the first time.
No, this is the first time that it's
I'm sorry.
happening.
Yeah, no, this is not a reenactment.
So Eugene, Zachary showing some sacred tech in the form of a pummel from the Welcome to Wraith era
Yeah.
of Flesh and Blood.
Winning play.
Eugene in the tank now, seeing if there's anything he can do to enact 35 points of life from Zach with 2 cards in hand
Yeah, maybe
in a dream.
he could pitch to Kano and get a sink below from his sideboard.
I'm actually not sure he can even pitch to Kano. That's a red and possibly another red.
Okay.
Then we are going to play Aether Flare before the resolution of the pummel.
We're having a good laugh here.
Because I'm going to win in myself.
Ah,
Oh, Eugene going out on his own terms. He says, Zach, you can't kill me with this sacred tech. I decided I'm going to waning moon myself.
I'm not fired. I quit.
Exactly.
You didn't get me. Sorry.
Zach still unable to clinch out the victory against Eugene. The wizard
Oh, Zach will
extraordinaire.
take the victory, but he does not have Eugene's pride.
No.
That belongs to Eugene and Eugene alone, and this must be the next best rivalry in Flesh and Blood for this exact reason. Once again, the left side of the stream is taken down the right, and Zachary proving that he is still an illusionist master as he
Yeah.
heads off to the finals.
I'm going to ask our producers if we have any updates on the other match going on as we figure out who these finalists are. Looks like Colin took it on Kasai, so the final match will be Enigma versus Kasai.
And surely it's also a Team AGE showdown.
It is.
How about that?
Arcane Games and Events finally featuring some Arcane players.
What are you
I
talking
mean,
about? We had Chris
We're
Ayala in
pretty
the
good
finals
at
last
this. Oh,
last month.
he's the captain. That's right. He shows up and he wins all the time. I guess sometimes the good wins go by the wayside as I get stuck. I get snagged on all of the fallen comrades. I saw a lot of team kills happen in Swiss today.
Well, when you're about half of the bracket, then
Fair
kind
enough.
of makes it hard to avoid team kills.
And here we are with the top 8 bracket. Colin Erickson, Kasai of the Golden Sand. B-tier deck, they say, coming into the finals against Zachary Wallach's Enigma, making it look easy to beat Kano. Anyone who told you that Kano stands a chance against Enigma, they say Kano's favored. Zachary says, what are you talking about?
And Colin is one of those die-hard Kasai players. I mean, this is the first hero he has ever played in this game. It's important to know that he has not been playing this game for very long. He's an Odyssey local, and he has been taking down those armories pretty much every week that he shows up. The man is a master of his craft, and I pale to think about what he could do with a S-tier deck.
Oh,
He
yeah.
says, nope, I'm sticking with Kasai.
Yeah.
I don't need another deck in
Well,
my
you
life.
know, what he basically says is, you guys are wrong. It's not a bad deck. And it must be either he's figured it out in a way that other people just haven't. It clicks, it works in his brain. But, I mean, he's showing up and saying, like, guys, I'm on Kasai because Kasai's the better deck. Not even just because I, want to. He really believes that it's one of the best decks in the format. And, you know, who can argue against the results that he's putting up?
And maybe he can show us exactly why he thinks that. in the finals of the July AGE Open Series. Should we show the people what they could win once again? We've got a handsome little medal here, and of course that cold foil. Show it off to the people. Give us
Can we
some
get that
shimmer,
the
Michael.
foil? Where there?
Yes, absolutely. That full art cold
There
foil
it is. I found it.
arcane
Oh, I
lantern
lost it.
that goes to
There's the
every
foil.
one
Look
of
at
our
that.
Open Series champions.
Amazing.
And we will be back with that and more Flesh and Blood after this. Don't go anywhere.